Hi everyone, welcome back to our new English lesson. I'm so glad to see each and every one of you. In today's lesson, we're going to enrich your vocabulary. How are we going to do this? Well, we're going to talk about idioms. But before we start, if you like what I'm doing, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. And now, without further ado, let's get started. First off, what is an idiom? Let me quickly remind you. An idiom is a set phrase or a common expression that usually cannot be translated word for word. I'm sure you guys know lots of different idioms in English. However, if you're not familiar with idioms, let's look at this extremely exaggerated example. So, what happened at the party? Come on, spill the beans. She said, spill the beans. What does that mean? Oh, I didn't realize you were hungry. Well, okay, here you are. Help yourself. What the hell are you doing? Well, you asked me to spill the beans. Well, if you paid closer attention to idioms, you would know that to spill the beans doesn't literally mean spilling the beans. It means to reveal a secret.
Spill the beans, old man.
What's going on? Spill the beans.
After looking at this extremely exaggerated situation, you know that the phrase spill the beans, well, the idiom to spill the beans means to reveal a secret. Okay, well, this situation is unlikely to happen in real life, although everything is possible. However, now you have a better understanding of what an idiom actually is. So just imagine translating this idiom, spill the beans, word for word. Doesn't make sense, right? Oh, and by the way, these are not beans. I just didn't have real beans in my pantry. But let's pretend these are beans, even though these are chickpeas. And before we look at some real-life English idioms, let's ask this question. Why are idioms important? Why do we need to learn them? First of all, learning English idioms will help you avoid possible misunderstanding. Secondly, knowing English idioms will make you sound more advanced and native-like, if you will. And last but not least, idioms help you express yourself in a more creative and fun way. And now let me put the chickpeas, aka beans, in the fridge, and we're going to learn some real-life English idioms. And let's start off with this idiom. Dressed to the nines, or dressed up to the nines. If you say that someone is dressed to the nines, you refer to the fact that this person is dressed very smartly, elegantly, or otherwise in a fancy fashion. Like this couple over here, they are dressed to the nines. One more example. The whole family were dressed to the nines when they left for the wedding. So they were dressed in a very smart and elegant fashion. This guy over here is always dressed to the nines because he is loaded. He has a lot of money. He is rich and wealthy. He is always dressed to the nines.
More like dressed to the nines.
Dresses to the nines for every occasion.
You're probably familiar with this next idiom. It's not rocket science, but since it's my favorite one, I still decided to include it in this video lesson. So if you say that something is not rocket science, it isn't rocket science. It means that it's not difficult, it's easy. It's not rocket science. For example, come on, it's only a crossword. It's not rocket science. It's very easy. It's not rocket science. Or, designing a website may be a lot of work, but it's not rocket science. Do you agree with this? You can also use another variation of this idiom. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. For example, this job is very easy to do. So you can say, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this job. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this job. It's so easy.
It's not rocket science.
This isn't rocket science, it's brain surgery.
Call her, apologize. It's not rocket science.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a forensic dentist or anything.
This idiomatic expression, to bite the bullet, means to accept an unpleasant or difficult situation without complaining. So basically, when you have to force yourself to perform a difficult, sometimes even painful, unpleasant task, or endure a difficult situation, an unpleasant situation, you bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet, baby. Bite the bullet.
For example, we'll just have to bite the bullet and pay higher taxes. Well, that means that I'm not happy with the situation. I don't want to pay higher taxes, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I will just have to accept this situation, this unpleasant situation. I will have to bite the bullet and pay higher taxes. One more example. During the pandemic, a lot of companies had to bite the bullet and lay off a lot of employees. Lay off means to fire, to let go. So during the pandemic, lots of companies had to bite the bullet. They had to accept this difficult and unpleasant situation and lay off a lot of employees.
I just bite the bullet on this thing.
I guess I'll have to bite the bullet.
We should bite the bullet. Hire a campaign manager.
Our next idiom is to kick the bucket. This is a bucket, by the way. So to kick the bucket means to die or to pass away. However, be careful with this idiom, because if you are at somebody's funeral and you approach a person whose family member has just died, you cannot say, "I'm sorry, he kicked the bucket." No, it sounds rude, it sounds awful. In this case, you can say, "I'm sorry he passed away. I'm sorry for your loss." A good example would be, "I want to visit every single country in the world before I kick the bucket. I want to visit every single country in the world before I die." You may also have heard the phrase, a bucket list. It's on my bucket list. If you put things on your bucket list, it means you want to do these things before you die, before you kick the bucket. For example, visiting Japan is on my bucket list. I really want to visit Japan before I die, so it's on my bucket list. By the way, what's on your bucket list? Share it in the comments.
Kick the bucket. By the farm.
Guess who just kicked the bucket?
Bucket list complete.
Crossing everything off my bucket list.
It's totally on my bucket list. My father achieved everything on his bucket list.
One more useful idiom is in the ballpark. But first of all, what is a ballpark? Well, a ballpark is a place where people usually play ball games, such as baseball ground. However, the idiom to be in the ballpark or to be in the right ballpark has nothing to do with playing baseball. It actually means to be close to the right amount, to be fairly accurate, to be approximate. When you don't say the exact amount or the exact figure, you just say that it's in the ballpark, it's in the right ballpark. For example, do you think the sales figures are realistic? Well, they are in the right ballpark, which means they are close to the right amount. They're quite realistic. They are in the ballpark. One more example. So how much money do you make each month? $1,000, $2,000? I'm not going to tell you exactly how much money I make, but you're in the ballpark. You're in the right ballpark, which means you're close to the right amount.
You're in the ballpark.
Offer was definitely in the ballpark, Andy.
Just hope my pronunciation is in the ballpark.
You may also hear the expression a ballpark figure, which means an approximate figure or quantity. For example, what are we talking about here? 1,000, 1 million, $2? Give me a ballpark figure. Give me a ballpark figure means give me an approximate figure, an approximate amount.
Ballpark figure is fine.
One more example. I cannot give you the exact figure. I can only give you a ballpark figure. It's around $600.
Give me a ballpark figure. How much?
And the last idiom for today is to hear something through the grapevine, or to hear something on the grapevine. Well, this is a grapevine, by the way. If you hear something on the grapevine, it means you heard it from someone else informally by means of gossip or rumor. For example, I heard through the grapevine that Mike and Stacy are getting a divorce. It means I heard from someone else, and it's just a gossip, it's a rumor, I don't know for sure if it's true, that they are getting divorced. They are getting a divorce. I heard through the grapevine. One more example. I heard through the grapevine that he was leaving. Is it true?
I heard it through the grapevine.
I'm sorry?
I heard. Through the grapevine.
I heard through the grapevine that someone won a big prize recently, huh?
Because you heard it through the grapevine. Yeah, it is a real thing.
By the way, what other idioms do you know? Share them in the comment section. And that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video lesson, as always, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to support my channel and leave some feedback in the comment section. I will be waiting for your feedback and your comments, guys. See you in the next video. Bye!